Unconscious bias is a powerful yet quiet performance killer. It literally makes us do things we didn't mean to do, say things we didn't mean to say, and sometimes even offend people without understanding how we offended them. Now, just to make sure we're all on the same page, by definition, unconscious bias refers to our biases, of course, our stereotypes, our prejudices, our attitudes that affect both our thinking and our behavior, but in ways that we don't realize. It affects our thinking and behavior in ways that are invisible to us and doesn't allow us to necessarily make any corrections to that behavior before it creates problems. Now, there are many types of different types of unconscious bias, but I only want to focus on two, and I want to focus on these two because they have the potential to have a significantly negative impact on the recruitment and selection process. And I'm talking about any recruitment and selection process. It could be the recruitment and selection of speakers for events. It could be the recruitment and selection of employees for an organization. It could be the recruitment and selection of individuals that you'd like to be a part of your association. Anytime that we are actually going after people, making some evaluations relative to those people, and seeing if they'll be a good fit for our organization, there's two types of unconscious bias that can have a negative impact on that process without us even realizing it. The first is what we call affinity bias. And affinity bias is based on a very simple concept and a very interesting one, and that is, as human beings, we have a natural tendency to gravitate toward those we perceive to be most like ourselves, and therefore away from those we perceive to be less like ourselves. Put another way, we like to hang out with people who look like us, walk like us, talk like us, think like us, and act like us. It really is that simple. And the reality is we do it for a very simple reason, and that is we want to find relative comfort. There's comfort in likeness, there's comfort in familiarity, and we seek comfort in our day-to-day interactions. I'm going to give you a very simple example. Think about what most people did when you came to this event. You probably rode around the block a few times figuring out how to park. Once you figured that out, you went down into that garage, you came upstairs and tried to figure out where this event was. Once you figured out you had to keep coming up the stairs, you came in, you went to registration, and then when you came in here, what's the first thing most people did, and particularly those who were alone? You looked for people you knew. You tried to find some familiarity, and the reason is that there is comfort in familiarity. The way I like to say this is that familiarity breeds comfort. It also breeds contempt, but that's a different presentation. We're going to focus on the comfort piece, but it breeds comfort. And so that's one of the issues that is potentially a problem when it comes to affinity bias, because we seek comfort, we seek likeness, and I want to be real clear about this. Fundamentally, there's nothing wrong with that, but the potential problem is if we do that relative to the recruitment and selection process without realizing it, guess who we go after? Guess who we try to recruit? And guess who we ultimately bring into our organizations or bring in as speakers? People who look like us, walk like us, talk like us, think like us, and act like us. So that's one potential problem.